Good morning, students. So in the present chapter, mainly we discussed on the properties of gases. First, let me discuss today the general characteristics of the gases. So what are the important characteristics of the gases? The first one is gases neither has a definite shape nor definite volume. That means the gases never possess a definite shape or definite volume. For example, a certain quantity of gas is placed in 1 liter container. The volume of the gas is 1 liter because it is occupying entire volume. The same amount of a gas if I place in the 10 liter container, it occupies the 10 liters. So what is the volume of that gas? We cannot say. That is depending upon the volume of the container. And simply that means they assume volume and shape of the container. Whatever the shape is there, that is the shape of that gas. And whatever the volume is there, that is the volume of the gas. And the second one is, the gases can be compressed by the application of external pressure. When we are applying the pressure, okay, so there is a possibility these gases might be compressed. They are come very close to each other. And the third one is, the gases have similar composition in all parts. So that character we called homogeneous in nature. So whenever the mixing of a gases takes place, for example, let us take, so this air, whatever the atmosphere is there, it is a mixture of gases. So nowhere we never observed any different types of layers. So all seems to be a single phase. So that character is called homogeneous. So when you are collecting a sample, so that composition is same in all the samples. That is called homogeneous in nature. So that's why the gases have the similar composition in all parts. That is said to be homogeneous in nature. Gases much have the lower density than the solids and liquids. When we are comparing with the solids and liquids, so the gases will be possessing a lesser density. And gases can exert the pressure equally in all the direction in whichever the container it is placed. It is bombarded with the walls of the container. So because of that, when the pressure is exerted, so when they are bombarded with the container, they will be moved randomly. So towards in all the directions, that's why the pressure can be exerted equally in all the directions. This is the fifth character. And the sixth character, the liquefaction. The gases can be liquefied by cooling and applying the pressure. To convert the gases into the liquid, so just by cooling, the temperature is decreases, and by applying the external pressure, there is a maybe possibility of gases are converted into the liquid. And the last one is, this is called property diffusion. So the gases intermix readily and completely in all proportions without any mechanical add. So this is meaning, for example, a balloon was there. Just to make an hole to the balloon, immediately the gas will be coming out from the balloon, and it is mixing with the whatever the gas is already existing around that, it will be mixed. So without doing any work. So that is called without any mechanical aid, the gas will be mixing. For example, if the perfume was there, when you are pressing, immediately the gas will be coming out and it is mixed with already that gas is present. So that property we called as here diffusion. So that's why the gases intermix readily and completely in all proportions without any mechanical add. This property is called diffusion. The gases can be possessed the property diffusion. So these are some important characteristics of the gases. The first one is they never possess a definite volume or definite shape, and they can easily compress it by applying the external pressure. And the gaseous mixture is always said to be homogeneous in nature. No 2 or 3 layers or 2 or 3 different phases are not present. Only one phase is present. And when compared with the liquids and solids, the gases are having the less density. The gases can be exert the pressure equally in all the direction. The gases can be liquefied. So the gases can be possess the property, what is it? Diffusion. So these are some important characteristics of the general characteristics of the gases. So the next topic in this today's class is measurable properties of gases. So what are the measurable properties of gases? Generally, the measurable properties of gases are mass, volume, pressure, temperature, viscosity. So like that, there are so many important properties are there. In that one, mainly we concentrated in this chapter mass, volume, pressure and temperature. So these are the 4 important measurable properties of the gases. So how we can measure these properties? You know very well. First go to the mass, measurement of mass. Let us take a container In that one, certain quantity of gas is present. What is the mass of that gas present in the container? That is, we have to be measured. The simply, first we can measure the container with gas, and after that just you can remove the gas, you can evacuate so that entire container. Then you can measure the container without gas. So first we can measure the container with gas. After that we can measure the container without the gas. The difference between these two gives the mass of a gas. So the mass of a gas is equal to mass of container containing the gas minus mass of container after removing the gas. For example, say, so in a container, some 40 grams of a gas is present, or some gas is present. So the mass of this container is some 100 grams. 100 grams. And after that, the gas is removed, only the container is left. Then we measure the mass of the container, that is found to be 40 grams. How many grams? 40 grams. So then what is the mass of a gas? Nothing but simply we can subtract these two values, that is equal to the 60. 60 grams is the mass of a gas present in the container. So like that we can measure the mass of a gas. So what are the units of mass of a gas? You know very well in your physics first chapter, units and dimensions. We will learn each and every unit. Generally the mass can be expressed in terms of kg, that is kilogram, or gram, or milligram. So you know very that 1 kilogram is equal to 1000 grams, 1 gram is equal to 1000 milligrams. Like that, 1 gram is equal to 10 to the power of minus 3 kg. Like that you can convert it. But these two are need to be remembered. Okay. So because while doing the numerical, sometimes we may need to be convert the kilogram into gram, gram into kilogram, gram into milligram, milligram into kilogram. In that one, so these are the some useful information. So it will be helpful to the conversions. So simply, how do you express the mass? That is in kilograms, grams, or milligrams. But commonly, so the mass of a gas is expressed in terms of number of moles. So this is the term we are commonly used in the chemistry. So the mass of a gas is commonly expressed in terms of number of moles. So what do you mean by the number of moles? How this number of moles is related to the mass? Number of moles is equal to mass by molar mass. This is a formula. You will be learning in the next chapter how do you get this relation in stoichiometry. So the number of moles is equal to mass by molar mass. Mass is always expressed in grams. Molar mass is always expressed in grams per mole. So when you substitute the mass and molar mass of a particular gas, then you are getting the number of moles. For example, I am going to give one question. 44 grams of carbon dioxide placed in a container. 44 grams of carbon dioxide is placed in a container. Express the mass of carbon dioxide in number of moles. That is the question. 44 grams of carbon dioxide means how many moles? You know the formula, number of moles is equal to mass by molar mass. So to calculate the number of moles, we have to know mass and molar mass. Mass is given. How much is given? So mass is equal to mass of carbon dioxide is equal to 44 grams. So how do you calculate the molar mass? Molar mass of carbon dioxide is equal to molar mass of carbon dioxide is equal to, so here carbon dioxide, that is a sum of the atomic masses of atoms present in the molecule. One is carbon. One carbon is there, so that atomic mass of carbon plus, so two oxygens are there, so that 2 into atomic mass of which one? Oxygen. So atomic mass of carbon, you know very well, carbon atomic mass is 12, and 2 into oxygen, that is 16, totally 44 gram per mole. That is the molar mass of carbon dioxide. Then, so N is equal, number of moles is equal to mass by molar mass. Then N is equal to simply mass of carbon dioxide is 44 grams by molar mass of carbon dioxide is 44 grams per mole. So that N is equal to 1 mole. 1 mole of carbon dioxide. That means 44 grams of carbon dioxide means here 1 mole of carbon dioxide. So like that we can express so if the mass is given, then like that we can calculate the number of moles. What is the formula? Number of moles is equal to mass by molar mass. This is a formula is very useful to do the calculations in the coming concepts. You need to remember here one thing. So number of moles is equal to mass by molar mass. How do you calculate the molar mass? Molar mass is equal to the sum of the atomic masses of atoms present in a molecule. Then we get molar mass, that is in terms of grams per mole. So similarly, for example, 17 grams of ammonia. 17 grams of ammonia placed in a container. Express the mass of ammonia NH3 in terms of moles. So here you know very well, number of moles is equal to number of moles of ammonia is equal to mass of ammonia by molar mass of ammonia. So mass of ammonia is given. Mass of ammonia is 17 grams. Molar mass of ammonia is equal to, so atomic mass of nitrogen plus 3 into atomic mass of hydrogen. Atomic mass of nitrogen is 14. Atomic mass of hydrogen is averagely 1, so that we get 17 gram per mole. Then number of moles of ammonia is equal to 17 grams by 17 gram per mole. That is equal to the 1 mole of ammonia. So here from the previous case, 1 mole of carbon dioxide means, what you write there, 44 grams of carbon dioxide. So what is 44? 44 is the molar mass of carbon dioxide. Similarly, 1 mole of ammonia means, 1 mole of ammonia means how many grams of ammonia? 17 grams of ammonia. 17 grams of ammonia. What is 17? 17 is the molar mass of ammonia also. Molar mass of ammonia. Let us take any oxygen. Let us take oxygen. You can see 1 mole of oxygen. 1 mole of oxygen means 32 grams of oxygen. 32 grams of oxygen. Or 32 grams of 32 is the molar mass of oxygen. So simply From this one, what I concluded is 1 mole of any gas, 1 mole of any gas means simply molar mass of that gas. Molar mass of that gas, that respective gas. That's why the mass of 1 mole of a gas, the mass of 1 mole of any gas is called molar mass. Molar mass. This is we need to be remember. The mass of 1 mole of any gas is always called as molar mass. For example, here 1 mole of hydrogen molecule. 1 mole of hydrogen molecule. So that means, what is that? 1 mole. So nothing but N is equal to mass by molar mass. Molar mass. So N is equal to 1. Mass. Hydrogen, what is it? 2. So then mass is equal to 2 grams. So 1 mole of hydrogen is equal to, what is it? 2 grams of hydrogen. What is it 2 here? 2 is the molar mass of hydrogen molecule. That's why simply the mass of 1 mole of any gas is always called as the molar mass of gas. It's called molar mass. So like that, so we can conclude the one statement here. Here we need to be remember the 2 parts. How we can measure the mass of a gas. First we can measure the container with gas, and after that we can measure the mass of gas without the gas present in the container. So that means after that we can subtract the mass of the container without gas from the mass of the container containing the gas. We are getting the mass. But generally in the chemistry, the mass of gas can be expressed in terms of number of moles. Number of moles is equal to mass of a gas by number of the molar mass of a gas. Number of moles is equal to mass by molar mass. So the mass of 1 mole of any gas is always called as molar mass. So that is, we can see the practically with the example of carbon dioxide and ammonia. From that one we can conclude the statement. So 1 mole of any gas is always equal to the molar mass of that gas is the mass of a gas. So the second measurable property of gas is pressure. So we have already discussed in the general characteristics of the gases. They can exhibit the uniform pressure in all the directions by hitting the walls of the container in which it is placed. So how do you define the pressure of a gas? Pressure of a gas is force exerted by the gas per unit area. Force exerted by the gas per unit area of the container, so is called as the pressure of a gas. How do you measure the pressure of a gas? By an instrument that is called manometer, which is used to determine or measure the pressure of a gas. Normally we are using the term every time the atmospheric pressure. What do you mean by the atmospheric pressure? So the pressure exerted by the gases of atmosphere on the surface of the earth is called atmospheric pressure. So whatever the gases are present in the atmosphere, so they can exhibit the certain pressure on the earth, that is called as the pressure exerted by the gases of atmosphere on the surface of the earth is called as atmospheric pressure. So this is I think you have learned your 7th or 8th standard. So how to determine the atmospheric pressure, that is with the help of a barometer. So what are the units for the pressure? Generally we are normally used the atmosphere is the pressure unit. So these are some certain conversions might be useful to do the calculation to understand these certain concepts. So 1 atmosphere is equal to 76 centimeter of Hg, 760 mm of Hg, or 760 torr, or 1.01325 bar, 1.01325 into 10 to the power of 5 Pascal, 1.01325 into 10 to the power of 2 kilopascal. So, or the another units, the conversion, sometimes we need to be substitute instead of the pascal to get the exact units. There is a possibility to substitute kg meter inverse second to the power minus 2 in terms of the pascal. 1 bar is equal to 100 kilopascal or 10 to the power of 5 pascals, and 1 bar is equal to 0.986923 atmosphere. All these conversions are very important, so you need to be try to be remember all the units. So in most of the cases they might be mentioned in the atmosphere. In some of the calculations, so they might be given the pressure either in terms of centimeter of Hg or mm of Hg or tor or bar. So in that one they might be mentioned in times. Okay, we need to be converted that unit into the atmosphere. So to convert that unit into atmosphere, definitely these are the points we need to be remember. So to conversion of any unit into atmosphere. So simply, so the units of the pressure are normally expressed in 1 atmosphere. 1 atmosphere is equal to 76 centimeter of Hg, 760 mm of Hg, 760 tor, or 1.01325 bar, 1.01325 into 10 to the power of 5 pascal, 1.01325 into 10 to the power of 2 kilopascal. And 1 bar is equal, this is also useful, sometimes they might be given the pressure in terms of bar. 1 bar is equal 0.986923 atmosphere. So this is the second measurable property of a gas. So the third measurable property of gas is volume. So volume of a gas of substance is space occupied by it. I said in the beginning, I will discuss the first general characteristic of the gases. So suppose if I place the certain quantity of a gas in the 1 liter of a container, then the volume of a gas is 1 liter. If it is placed in 2 liter, then the volume of a gas is 2 liters. The same quantity of a gas is placed in 100 liters. That entire 100 liters can be occupied by the gas, so that the volume of a gas is 100. So that is the say here, the volume of a gaseous substance is space occupied by it. Since a gas occupies the entire space area of the container available to it, the volume of a gas is simply the same as the volume of the container. If the volume of the container is 1000 liters, then the volume of a gas is also the 1000 liters. Suppose if the same quantity of a gas is placed in 1 liter, so the 1000 liters can be reduced to the 1 liter, then volume of a gas is 1 liter. That's why volume of a gas is same as the volume of the container. So what are the units? Generally we are expressed in terms of liters, milliliter, centimeter cube, meter cube, or decimeter cube. So these are the units we are using to express the volume of a gas. So this is the conversion might be useful to you. 1 liter is equal to 1000 ml, okay, 1000 centimeter cube, 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube, or 1 decimeter cube. What means 1 liter is equal to 1 decimeter cube, 1 liter is equal to 10 to the power of minus 3 meter cube, 1 liter is equal to 1000 centimeter cube, 1 liter is equal to 1000 ml. So these are the conversions are useful to express the volume of a gas in certain numericals. The last measurable property of gas is temperature. You know very well the temperature is always tells about how much it is hot, how much it is cold. So that's why it is useful to measure the hotness or coldness of a body. So generally which instrument can be used to measure the temperature? You commonly know that is thermometer is used to measure the temperature. So what are the units of a temperature? That is Fahrenheit degrees or degree centigrade or Kelvin. So the Fahrenheit is equal to, how do you convert between these two? Fahrenheit is equal to 9/5 degree centigrade plus 32. So between the degree centigrade and Kelvin, the temperature in Kelvin is equal T degree centigrade plus 273.15. So these are the two conversions are also very important while doing the numericals. We need to be remember the units of all the measurable properties and their conversions. Without knowing that the conversions and without knowing the units, it is not possible to solve the numericals, especially in this chapter gaseous state. So totally the 4 measurable properties. One is the mass, second one is pressure, third one is volume, and the fourth one is temperature. In the next class we will discuss the important laws regarding the gases. So they can be discovered by the different scientists. So that is I will discuss in the next class.